So now that we have the Wu Chi position down, let's go into salutations, okay? From the Wu Chi position, we'll kind of open up the form by doing salutations. Salutations are fairly simple, and they look basically like this. Wrists floating up out in front, elbows drop, wrists glide down. And a second salutation, wrists glide down. Okay? Typically when we're starting the form, we'll do 2 salutations, but again, you can do as many as you want. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you like to practice a little bit at home, which is a great thing. I highly recommend the benefits of home practice. If you're practicing at home, feel free to do a whole bunch of salutations. You don't just have to do 1 or 2, you don't just have to do 3, you could do 150 of them if you want. What you'll find is the more repetition of this or any move you do, the more you'll start to feel the flow of the move. So the first couple times you do it, you might feel kind of robotic, and then after time, you'll start to be able to relax, and the move itself will start to be able to flow. Okay? So let me show you salutations just from the front again, and then from the side. And I'll talk a little bit about it. So from the Wu Chi position, we're going to inhale, letting the wrists float up out in front. So as the wrists float up, I'm keeping the shoulders relaxed and I'm keeping the elbows relaxed. We don't want to bring the shoulders up. We don't want to bring the elbows out. So it's almost as if there's a thread lifting my wrists. Just like the thread lifting the top of the head, there's a thread lifting my wrists, and my elbows and shoulders are just kind of hanging down from that. The feel is almost like the wrists are floating up on their own, okay? So I'll let the wrists float up to about shoulder height. You don't want to go way up here because then the shoulders will start creeping up. So I'll let the wrists float up to about shoulder height, and you'll notice the wrists are kind of expanded out. They're not straight out, but expanded out. They're not in. So inhaling, wrists float up, and then I'm going to let the elbows drop, and as the elbows drop, that's going to bring the wrists in. And then exhaling, wrists will glide back down, back to the hips. Okay? So inhaling, wrists float up. Exhaling, elbows drop, wrists glide down. One other thing to watch out for with this is as you're doing it, you want to stay nice and balanced over the feet. There's a point in the feet, an acupuncture point, called the bubbling well. The bubbling well is right about here on the foot. So it's about 1/3 of the way back from the front of the foot and about 1/3 of the way to half in from the ball side of the foot. It's on the front slope of the arch, okay? Now I mention this point because that's the point that we want to be balanced over. We don't want to be balanced back on the heels. This is really hard to balance, okay? We don't want to be balanced way up on the toes. That's pretty hard to balance. If you go to the middle of the foot and then just shift forward just a little bit and see if you can find that point in the bottom of the foot. It almost feels like there's a little hollow right there, okay? So find that point in the bottom of the foot and see if you can get balanced over that point in both feet. So as we're doing salutations, we want to see if we can stay as balanced over that point as possible. So what we want to avoid doing is as we bring the arms out, extending forward, leaning forward, or even leaning back. And same thing when we come down. We don't want to lean forward. We want to stay nice and upright. We want to hold the elements of the Wu Chi position that we went through in the last video. We want to hold the elements of that position as best possible throughout the movements. So, salutations, wrists float up, inhaling, elbows drop, wrists glide down as you exhale. Wrists float up, elbows drop, wrists glide down. One more time. Okay? So that's salutations. Like I said, feel free to do that a whole bunch of times, especially where you're just beginning to learn the form. That's a really nice thing to practice because it's easy. It has a kind of meditative quality to it, so it can help you with relaxation. It can help reinforce balance. So feel free to do that a whole bunch of times, okay? So that's salutations.